the popcorn, grab a Coke, and find that old VHS. We're diving deep in cheesy flicks. Yeah, we're on a vintage quest. Low reviews but high on laughs. Let's give these films a cheer. The cult classics, flops, and nuts. There are topics this year. We're the Ejectables, rolling back the years, celebrating movies that no one else cheers. From backhand twos to epic fails, we say it's all good. We're the Ejectables, yeah, we're misunderstood.
Welcome to the Ejectables. This is the show where movie enthusiasts Bill and Ian join forces with a weekly rotating guest to celebrate movies that we feel have been unjustly panned by the critics or sadly ignored or forgotten by audiences. This week's rotating guest is an old friend of mine, Sean Keller. Sean, welcome.
Welcome, Sean.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
Now, I first met Sean when he was playing Roger in the first national tour of Rent many, many moons ago, along with my brother, who you can see in the upper right corner there, my brother Christian. And Sean has since gone on to be a screenwriter for the Nicolas Cage film Rage, the Dario Argento film starring Adrien Brody, Giallo, and the Into the Dark series, All That We Destroy, directed by his now wife, Chelsea Stardust, who also directed Satanic Panic. So, Sean, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here. Let's nerd out.
All right. Now, Sean, you too, like myself, you are a mega horror fan, and you, like I said, you went on to write a film directed by Dario Argento and another film that I believe was directed by John Carpenter. Is that correct?
Correct. I did the production rewrites on Carpenter's last film, The Ward, and worked with him on a couple of the projects that didn't leave the ground. But he was, a fun fucking man to work with. But like literally the coolest guy in the world.
Like being a mega horror movie fan, was it just like, oh?
It was really hard to not fan out constantly,
Sure.
but I just knowing anything about Carpenter, you know that he has zero patience for that. And so knowing that, it really does help tamp it down. And plus, he was awesome. Like, we would meet in the afternoons. My writing partner, James Agnew, and I, we would go into his place like from 3 p.m. to 4:30, because then like basketball was going to start. And so like for an hour and a half at a time, we would meet in his office in Hollywood, and there would always be like cheese and crackers and grapes and stuff out. And he'd be like, "You're writers, you're starving. Eat, go ahead." And so like he was so kind and accommodating that very quickly it just became like, oh, I'm just working with John, and less of like, even though everywhere you look, there's like, little Chinese takeout boxes, say Big Trouble in Little China, and like things like that everywhere around. So it's like, you just have to keep on dialing it down and not going, all right, don't geek out today. Don't, because he fucking hates it. He hates it. Don't geek out today.
Oh my God, I would have died.
Yeah.
Did he have anything from The Thing in there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He had posters of, he had like a lot of European posters. He had French posters and things like that, especially like the French Assault on Precinct 13 poster was really cool. And so,
cool.
Yeah, very.
What about anything from Memoirs of an Invisible Man?
Oddly, invisible.
Oh,
We did that movie on this show.
I love that movie. I know he hates it.
He hates it. And so there was no representation of that one anywhere.
I did not love that film, so I'm glad to be on his side.
I am with you.
And how about Argento? Before we hop into it, did you work as closely with him?
Not as closely. It was a lot of telephone work with him, and with the language barrier was tricky. His broken English is better than my broken Italian by a mile. So back and forth communication was odd. My writing partner, James, went to Italy and was on site for the shoot. I was a fresh daddy and had to stay home with baby and do those kind of things and represent us on the ground here in LA. So I was like taking meetings while he was doing second unit directing over there. But hung out with Dario plenty in post and afterward, and sort of walked around several conventions with him when Giallo was coming out, and that was really great to chat with. Like
just another legend. And before we started, you also mentioned that working on this film Rage with Nick Cage, you were just saying how cool he was. Can you just tell everyone about that for 1 second? And
He's an ace. You know, he's one of those people who knows his job. He knows everyone else's job. He understands exactly how movies are made, and suffers no fools. And the second anyone tries to give him any grief, or like a producer brings up a bad idea, he's like, nah, and shoots it down. He's like, nah, I'm going to go with the script. So he was always defending us. He knew his lines. He knew everyone else's lines. And the second it was cut, he would walk off and just glad hand the locals and, you know, pose for photos at the Mobile Piggly Wiggly, and, you know, just be a real prince. And so it was like a delight to watch a pro be a pro on every level. And that's what working with Cage was completely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was rad.
Now, Sean, you chose a movie for us today. Should we jump into it?
Sure.
Yeah. So what'd you choose, Sean?
I chose the often misunderstood 1980 classic, Flash Gordon.
Ooh.
This movie means a great deal to me in a weird way. It came out in 1980, and so it's already way behind Star Wars. There's already been Star Wars imitators. You know, Star Wars allowed big fantasy epics, space epics to get made, and a whole bunch of people raced to imitate it. But Lucas wanted to make Flash Gordon.
Oh, that's right. I read that.
And Dino De Laurentiis turned him down. And so that's why he made Star Wars. And so this is one of those things where it was supposed to be, he wanted Federico Fellini to direct it.
What?
And for a while, Nicolas Roeg was attached to direct it. And that's why it looks the way it does. Nicolas Roeg did all the production design and made it this like super bizarro thing. And he wanted it to be an erotic sci-fi masterpiece. And so when he eventually got fired off, they brought on Mike Hodges, who like was, he admitted, completely unprepared for the job. He did like Get Carter and like little English thrillers.
Oh, wow.
And so he's this great director of crime movies and little thrillers, but dealing with Dino De Laurentiis as a producer, like this thing just was a lunatic film all the way. But I saw it, you know, as a true Star Wars lover, because Star Wars didn't make sci-fi real; it made fantasy feel real. It took fantasy films and said, "Oh no, let's really make them feel real." And so, after that point, my appetite for fantasy films demanded some kind of realism. And so, when this came out 6 months after Empire Strikes Back, which
it was after. Okay.
Which was like my favorite movie ever, I wasn't ready for this film. I saw it in theaters and I was like, huh.
Really?
Because it was so campy.
Yeah.
And so devoid of realism. And so embracing outro art and weirdness that I didn't get it as a little 11-year-old film viewer. But as second run films used to happen, my local community center, the McLean Community Center, McLean, Virginia, picked up this film and played it all summer long. And so every Saturday it ran twice a day for $2. And I went to see it like 8 times in a community center theater filled with little kids throwing things completely unsupervised by any adults anywhere. And it became the most insano viewing experience. That's when the film imprinted on me. And that's when like the Queen soundtrack really became a thing. And I'm such a music guy. I'm a musician first.
I didn't even mention that. Yeah, he's a musician, everyone.
Yeah, I compose
Thanks,
songs. I compose songs for film and movies, and so I do that all the time. And I
Hard
put out
Promises, right? Didn't you have a song in Hard Promises way back when?
Way back when. That was my first film credit in 1991. So yeah, the music is so good, and no one had ever done that before. It was the first rock score, the first heavy metal score to a film, and then movies like Heavy Metal came afterward. And so much, if you really look at this film, beside the campy story, and the first half of the film is a mess. The first half, until Flash is killed, spoiler, he dies in the middle. Until he's killed, it's sort of like this super fast moving weird thing where they fake a football game. They do like the campiest, dumbest fucking things in cinema where you're just watching and going, why? Why are we doing this? And then Flash dies. And as a kid, you're like, you can't do that. You can't kill the lead in the at the middle of the second act of a movie. And so it's this bizarre mashup of campy, goofy shit and really dark, scary moments. The Wood Beast
Oh, that scared the heck out of me.
The heck out of me. It was the greatest tension in cinema, and I watched it week after week, and I would just be petrified every time.
Yeah. It was like a scorpion. Yeah.
And that like scorpion fucking
the spider thing in the mud
is scary.
Yeah,
it's thrown on the spikes and his eyes and tongue come out like everything that Tim Burton ever did. It's gross and awesome.
With that said, can we just go to a clip and then we're going to come back?
Please.
You will surrender these fugitives at once, or the Imperial fleet will blast your kingdom to atoms.
I love that.
It's true kinder trauma. Like those. One of those things that is so just part of my DNA now.
It's so gross. That is gross. I was 8 when this came out. I was just like, oh my God. There's a lot of this scared me. It was seared into my mind, like scenes like that.
At the very end, Ming gets pierced by the front of a spaceship, which is hilarious. That like the spaceship crashes into this grand area. And the only real damage is the Emperor gets shish kebabbed.
Yeah.
But it's so good. And Max von Sydow was
he's great.
Delicious as a villain. He's the star of the movie. If you look at almost any of the marketing, he's what it's built around. They didn't build the marketing around the hero because Dino De Laurentiis just hated Sam J. Jones. And Sam Jones he was a Playgirl model.
That's right.
He wasn't really an
you have the episode, right? You have the edition of it. Ian.
Oh yeah. No, I have it framed right over there. Yeah. I pull it over, but it's too dark over there.
So yeah, it's he wasn't featured. It was about Max von Sydow, who honestly wasn't getting work because everyone thought he was a geriatric because the makeups in The Exorcist were so good, and he was sort of an unknown European actor that everyone thought he was a 70-year-old. And so he wasn't getting cast. And so when Dino De Laurentiis came to him and said, "Hey, would you be interested in playing Ming the Merciless?" He was like, yes. He was one of those people who was enthusiastic and on board from the beginning. Whereas a lot of people backed into the project. They wanted Kurt Russell.
I saw that. And I heard Schwarzenegger actually had the role as well.
And Schwarzenegger really wanted it, but they're like, no one can understand
the accent. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dino went back to him for Conan very shortly afterward. But the what ifs and the possibilities, like what if it was a Nicholas Roeg film? It would be so different. As it is, like you can see his color palette.
Yeah, it looks like a lava lamp.
It's whereas Star Wars looked cool, like literally temperature wise. They're blues and whites and blacks and things that aren't vibrant. Everything here is gold and red. Everything in here is primary colored, like really shockingly unrealistic.
But is this supposed to look more like the old comics?
To look like the old comics, but also it allowed fantasy to be fantasy and not to be real. It sort of was taking something back from Star Wars, going, no, let's be silly. There's no real mirth. There's not much mirth in Star Wars. As it goes on, it grows more, and there's more comedic beats as the franchise goes on. But early on, it wasn't dour, but it was serious. And Flash Gordon isn't.
It's weird to see, like, I wonder sometimes who is the audience supposed to be? Because it still has what Nicolas Roeg wanted to do with the kind of the high sexual vibes going on. But then it's kind of silly like a kid's movie, but then the violence is pretty violent.
Yeah, the Italian crew was making a dark film. The English-American crew was making a campy romp. And it mashed together in a way that, due to lack of communication, it became this feathered fish of a movie that, honestly, there are parts of it that don't work. If somebody says this is a bad film, I'm like, yeah, you're right. But it's the greatest bad film. It's just the pure emotional support that the score gives every beat allows the goofiness to become epic. It allows you to see Christopher Dalton as not just like an Errol Flynn knockoff, but actually being like heroic.
Yeah, he's good in this.
There you go. I follow. And that's as good as like anything in David Lean. It's one of those manly man beats. Now, the women are not treated well. They are
they're whipped.
They are either whipped and given the boar worms, not the boar worms. Yeah, Ornella Muti, stunning, incredible, gorgeous creature, is a dragon lady.
I think that was like the first time I was 8, it was Chris Barrett's 8th birthday party, and we went to see this at the cinema. And I think seeing a woman in a film, I was just like, she's making me feel things I've never felt before.
Oh yeah.
What kind of things, Ian?
Like I wanted more popcorn.
Okay.
I don't know. Go on, Sean.
Yeah. And
We
Dale,
get it. You're straight, Ian. We get
That's
it.
not what I'm saying. I mean, it doesn't matter.
well, she made me feel things too. Not as many things as Timothy Dalton made me feel, but that's where I live.
Yeah.
But Dale Arden is a terrible character, written poorly, acted well, but she's given like terrible things to do. She is who played her? Melody Anderson does a heroic job trying to salvage what is written by a complete sexist concept of this fainting damsel in distress who's incapable of any agency. Flash has to save her at every fucking turn, and it is awful. And there is sort of a thread through all of the movies we're going to discuss today where the women are not written well. There's one well-written character in Dragonslayer, but they are. This is a dudes movie made by dudes, obviously. It sort of wallows in a somewhat repressed teenage sexuality. There's something going on in it that, like, I don't think it could possibly connect to an adult if they're coming to it for the first time. You have to see this in your youth to love it. And I respect that. I get it. Mm-hmm. If I asked a friend who'd never seen this before, who's my age, to watch this movie, they go, Sean, why did you do that to me?
It's offensive. Yeah. I love that. Like in the first 10 minutes, Dale, she grabs Flash's hand. She's like, wait, don't forget about me. And they've known each other for 10 minutes in real time. And they have this mega romance going. It's like, what?
Right away, she's like in an airplane and getting airsick and needs a man to hold her hand to like get through it. Like it's not.
No,
it's not good. She's written like the most distressed damsel in distress ever.
Did you notice though? Robbie Coltrane is in the first minute of the movie.
Yes,
it is him, Bill. You didn't realize it really is him.
It really is him.
Yeah, it was like his 4th project, I guess.
And Topol is in it. The fiddler on the roof.
He's awesome. He's so good in it.
He's great. He knows what movie he's in. He's doing high camp.
Yeah. I heard that Sam Jones, most of his dialogue was overdubbed by another actor who could actually act.
Well, yeah, and Sam Jones has like kind of a valley voice, he's got kind of a valley boy accent. And so they needed him to sound better. And no actor has come forward. That no one to this day has taken credit for that voiceover. But that was sort of the Italian way.
On IMDb, they list someone who has claimed it is he, but I forget what his name is. But
they said it was only like 10% online.
Okay.
Oh, they said it was like I've read like 75 or 80%. That was the voiceover.
I mean, if you listen to J. Jones talk, he does not sound like Flash.
Yeah.
It's a thing. But also part of that was the feud that he had with Dino. And I think Dino also forced the dubbing over him to like go, oh, screw this guy.
Wow.
Because he signed a 3-picture deal. There were supposed to be 3 of these.
Yeah, did it bomb? No, it made money, but not a ton.
No, it totally bombed.
Yeah, it made $27 million here in the U.S. and Canada. It was a $20 million budget, so the P&A doesn't get covered. With the European and global, it made its money back barely, but it was a failure. It was a thing that the critics savaged.
Ebert liked it.
Right, Ebert liked it because he saw the campy nature. I mean, he wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Of course, he understands camp.
Sure.
But it was. There's a reason why it's not loved, and I get it. I'm never gonna like go. You don't like Flash Gordon? I 100% understand if somebody doesn't like Flash Gordon. I'm not gonna be remotely offended by knowing that something that is totally part of me doesn't reflect in you. That's fine.
If you take it seriously, it's an awful movie. But if you go in knowing it's campy, it's goofy, it's bizarre, then it's a good time.
And there are moments. There are moments where that score by Queen starts to sound like Tangerine Dream. Like it goes into really beautiful synthy bits. And it's stunning. I listen to it all the time. It's sort of hard for me to say Flash without saying, right afterward. It's so woven together.
I love that hero song at the end too. It's so good.
So good.
Flash.
Bill, what'd you think of it?
Well, the first 15 minutes, I was like, is this a joke? I've never seen it. My girlfriend was like,
you'd never seen it before?
No, I never seen it before.
Oh, I'm so excited for this.
And so I was like, so we have two picks. Ian's picks are usually horrible, and
Sean would disagree with you.
Disagree.
His picks are usually terrible. So my girlfriend,
we like Inside. That
we saw it all the time as a kid, and so I watched it. And the first 15 minutes, I go, "What the fuck is this, man? What the fuck?" I've never seen someone not able to do a master shot. It's like the worst master shots I've ever seen in film. And I go, "What the hell?" And then I read all about it while watching it because I was losing my mind. And then I was like, "I'm just gonna go for this ride. This is hilarious. The Queen music is awesome." I'm a big fan of Ted, so I love when Sam showed up in Ted, I didn't really get the significance because they were geeks. I was like, who cares about this guy? Now I get it. And so I started reading about it, and Lorenzo Semple, who wrote it, is a really good writer. He wrote The Drowning Pool. He's like one of the best screenwriters ever. And I watched an interview with him afterwards, and he goes, "Look, the movie's camp. It's stupid. There's a plane that crashes, and all of a sudden you go into a space shuttle. If you can get over that, you can watch the movie." And I agree. I go, "Oh, that's really funny." It was a fun ride. It was a really fun ride. I just let go of my anger, and I was like, "This is awesome." It was ahead of its time. I knew that. There's an interview when you're talking about George Lucas. There's an interview with the producer Gary Kurtz where he said that Star Wars is basically just Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon, and that he was just ripping it off. And so timing is everything. My only complaint is that no one that plays for the New York Jets is good. So he's a superhero. So that's my one complaint about it. But it was an awesome pick. It was so much fun.
Back when it was made, they're still living in the glory. They still have like at least Joe Namath in the background of the memories of those Jets fans.
I know
they weren't quite as completely dismal as they are today.
I'm from New Jersey, and no one's a Jets fan.
The fact that he's a quarterback is hilarious too, because Flash Gordon, in the original comic strips and comic books, was a polo player.
Oh, wow.
And that's like not going to translate.
Are the Jets
that would make more sense than being a New York Jet?
Sorry, what was that?
That would make more sense than being a New York Jet.
For sure.
I'm just making fun of New York Jets. Sorry.
Poor New York Jets. I'm actually surprised this is not like a midnight movie, sort of like a Rocky Horror. It seems like it would be perfect for that kind of thing.
It's very quotable.
And Richard O'Brien is in it too.
Richard O'Brien is in it.
Rocky Horror. Did you realize that, Bill?
No, but my girlfriend pointed out. Oh no, Dragonslayer, the guy, the Emperor from Star Wars, is in.
Oh yeah, Ian McDiarmid.
Oh yeah. And the guy
that is one of the people from Arborea, the bald sort of right hand man to Prince Baron, and he's the creator of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
There you go.
And Shock Treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be a good ejectable too. Shock Treatment.
Oh yeah.
When you come back, Sean.
I love Shock Treatment.
Have you seen it, Bill?
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Every time Ian says, "Have you seen it?" usually it's bad news for me.
It's the sequel to Rocky Horror.
Okay.
Please don't pick
It's so
it.
weird. It's so weird. It's so good.
Do we have anything else we want to say about it? We recommend it, I think.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can like tap into a childlike, willful suspension of disbelief, this
Don't
one's
take it
really
seriously.
fun.
Yeah. And I guess Grady from The Shining played the guy that married Ming and Dale, whatever. Remember, was it Grady
Crothers?
What's that?
Scatman Crothers is in this?
The guy that no, it's the old.
Oh, great! Oh, the gotcha.
The guy in the bar, yeah, the older, yeah. Do you remember, Bill?
No, but there's definitely no black people in this movie.
Oh, there is.
Where?
Yeah, the guy that dies.
There's the guy who's like death to Ming, and he's gonna kill him right away. And he's the guy who's in everything that Guy Ritchie makes.
Oh, really?
And so he's I forget his name, but yeah, right away there's a when they're introducing the different people from different worlds, in the first gallery with Ming, there's a tribe of all black folk who one of them, their leader is like, I have no money, but I will offer myself. And so Ming says, kill yourself. He's like, okay, I will. And then turns his sword to Ming and they freeze him and kill him. And so he is right there, right at the beginning. There are 5 people of color in one shot. Then you're right. Then no more. Then it is very, very white, very English, very Italian.
There's a famous Richard Pryor quote after seeing Star Wars where he goes, I guess there's no, and then he uses a word for black people in the future. And so that's why Billy D. Williams got picked.
Wow. One thing I didn't notice.
I told that story because it's not for me to say, but whatever. Okay.
The one thing I didn't notice before when I'd seen this is that the eagle guys, the bird guys, they're moving their heads like birds.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they're all like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Okay, so that's Flash Gordon. So my pick, Bill, should I do mine or do you want to do yours?
Yeah, you could do it. Let's get to the wonderful Dragon Slayer.
What? I did Dragon Slayer. It's the story of a young sorcerer's apprentice who is asked or made by the king to go save the king's daughter, the princess, from a dragon. And what I love about this film is that he fails in that task and she gets killed. That's only a small part of the film, but I thought that was pretty cool. This movie is a movie I saw again when I was 9 years old. It came out. It's directed by Matthew Robbins, starring Peter McNichol and Caitlin Clark, who sadly died at age 52 from ovarian cancer, which is sad.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. And there she is. But she was great. It's very old fashioned, but it's beautifully made. The music is stunning by Alex North, who also
was nominated for an Oscar. It lost the musical the
music.
Lost the Chariots of Fire.
The score is great. It's and this guy did a Streetcar Named Desire, and he also did Spartacus. And supposedly he used some of his music that he had written for 2001: Space Odyssey in this film as well. It's beautiful to look at. The special effects, I think, are stunning. They still look pretty darn good today.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if this were CGI, it would look horrible now. It would not age well. I think it's a lot of fun. It's paced somewhat slowly, but it's of its time. So
you want to see a clip?
Yeah, let's play a clip.
Yeah. Of course, you picked the best clip of the movie.
I did. I wasn't as nice to Flash Gordon. Sorry, Sean.
You picked the best clip of the movie.
Well, then it makes you want to go see it. There's other good parts too.
Which is really great. That's some cinematic stuff right there.
It's awesome. It's Phil Tippett.
I was pretty I remember watching this again. This scared the hell out of me when I was 9. I was like, the girl when she's chained up and the dragon's coming out at the beginning. I was like, this is horrible. But that I realized how much this terrified me as a kid, and I loved it back then, and I still think it's really fun. What do you think, Sean?
I think kids' movies used to go hard.
Yes.
They don't anymore because parents bitch and they don't understand. I loved being a Gen X kid whose parents ignored them and let me fucking digest this terrible stuff. And so there's something wrong with the way kids are being handed media anymore, that they don't get this. Yeah. It's dark. It's awesome. It's spooky. The lead is a bit of a wet paper bag in human flesh. But other than that, and the pacing. The pacing is. But
do you think it's of its time, the pacing, or do you think it back then too? It was.
Even back then, I found it a little slow. I mean, this is one of those movies that I didn't see in the theater, but it was an HBO regular. It played on HBO when we had finally gotten HBO, and it was on often. And so I saw this movie so many times that I really loved it. And I will say that Vermithrax is still my favorite cinematic dragon. I think he just looks magnificent. That the full Tippett Dennis Muren, combo of early industrial light music and magic handling this. They use like every practical filmmaking technique that exists to make this dragon come alive. And the amount of just real fire is something that I miss in cinema. Everything, all the fire in cinema today is digital. It looks like ass.
Yeah, you feel the danger
and the purpose. Like it's hard to. I've done things with fire, and it's hard to do on set. And it's always scary. And the sheer amount of fire in this kind of looks terrifying to me as someone who's spent a lot of time on set. I look at it, I'm like, oh God.
I love how the fire hitting his shield, and he's raising his head above to see where the dragon is. I'm like, you're gonna burn your head.
You can't do that. That's not gonna work. But baby dragons, yes.
Yeah.
Dying princesses. Yes. Ralph Richardson, who is not in it enough. Yes. Yeah. Like I love him. His disappearance is sad. His reappearance is jarring, but
yeah, I didn't love that about the film that he came back. I don't know.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, but it didn't tell you exactly what happens, that he explodes in the dragon.
And then the one spoiler thing, the one thing that is supposed to be hidden about a character is the most poorly hidden thing about a character ever. Trying to believe that what's his name is a young boy. They say, "Hey, boy," and I'm like, who are they talking to? Even as a child, it's quite obvious. Now watching it through the prism of understanding a lot of fluidity in sexuality, it seems less weird.
Yeah.
Than it did when I was a kid in 80.
Sure.
I was like, that's a girl, and so it that part of it played weird to me always, but at least they blow that quickly.
And it's, I guess, the first Disney film with nudity, because this is a Paramount Disney co-production.
Yeah. It's dark.
Yeah.
A lot of people die. The magic, sort of makes things worse. It's a weird story in that you see not a true traditional heroic tale, at least not in the Disney style. There's a lot of tragedy in this one, and that makes it hard to swallow as a child a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's good to swallow as a child.
It elevates it, I think, now as an adult watching it. I'm like, ooh. And did you realize the guy who is sort of his nemesis near the beginning that he kills through the post?
Yeah.
He's also in Flash Gordon.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a
lot of crossover.
It's all connected. Baby.
It is. Bill, what do you think?
All right. I don't want to be snarky. I'm not going to be snarky. I know how hard it is to make a movie. I worked on movies that got really bad reviews. I'd say, so the people that wrote and directed this and produced it, they're really responsible. They rewrote E.T., so they are extremely talented. They wrote Sugarland Express, and it's a very well constructed script.
Did we lose Bill?
It's a really great idea.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't want to be snarky. Okay. I just never seen a movie where there's no character arc whatsoever in a movie. And so I go, okay, what's going on here? Now, that's not the biggest issue of the movie for anyone that wants to see this movie. Do you want to look at that hair for 2 hours? I've never seen a movie so miscast since
Yeah.
Family Business, which I love. But it's Sean Connery, who's Scottish, and then Dustin Hoffman, and then Matthew Broderick, who's part Irish. I don't know where they got this guy. I know that he was in Ghostbusters 2 and Ally McBeal and stuff like this, but it's probably the worst casting mistake I've ever seen in a movie. I mean,
was thinking he's very Mark Hamill-esque, I think. Right? Kind of wimpy. I didn't mind him that much now, but I remember not liking him back then.
Yeah, he's pretty hateable. Imagine like if they're I understand what the effort is also to like go, let's not take the granite chiseled chinned hero. And so I appreciate that, but like you could have someone like say like Timothy Hutton, who was a young actor at the time.
Or Matthew Broderick,
who's so good in Lady Hawk, the same kind of role.
Exactly.
Like that would be so much better. That is my biggest problem with this movie is the casting.
Or someone with a British accent. It was weird to have this American in there. Or
he goes in and out of it. So this hair, I don't know what's going on here. It looks like Brian Bortano.
I think they wanted Richard Simmons, but he couldn't do it. So they're like,
Richard Simmons would have been better.
Yeah. I respect that. That's a good.
It's everything better.
He would have been better, to be honest. It's not his fault. He's just miscast.
No.
It's extremely well plotted. The special effects are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The girl is amazing in it.
Yeah.
These guys are responsible. They rewrote E.T. while saying it's Spielberg's Malibu House, and E.T. was a mess of a script, and they cut out so much stuff. So these guys are unsung heroes. They tried to do Batteries Not Included, which was kind of a misfire as well. Mm-hmm. Extremely talented. They did a really good Crisis in the Hot Zone movie from '85. I never saw it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it looked awesome. I don't know how you could.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
No, that it was like the first movie about a virus that came out in '85. So they're extremely talented. They went big. I don't know if this guy was forced out. I know that he was on Broadway, so he was like a big sensation. That's why they cast him. But the hair is brutal, man, and he is brutal. I don't mean to be a jerk.
Is he Mick Nichols' brother? You know
No.
Really? No relation?
No, he's from Texas. I was like, yeah, he was in Ghostbusters too. He was awesome.
Yeah. I met him on the set of the Bean movie. It was called Dr. Bean, and I got his autograph on the script. I was like, I remember you in Dragonslayer. But
was he nice?
He was super nice. Super nice. Yeah.
I'm sure he's very proud of it, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Actually, I heard that he didn't want to be known for this film after. He was not proud of this film.
Well, because, he was a little miscast. I mean, can you think, what's another horribly miscast movie besides Family Business?
I did not. Ben Stiller in his film Walter Mitty. I thought he was miscast. Not as badly, maybe.
All right, Sean, do you have any
good? I've been, but I'm being put on the spot on this one. Geez, I don't know of any that like leap to mind, honestly. Yeah. It's just but when someone says miscast, this is one of the ones that pops in my head. Like I instantly think Dragonslayer because I love it, but I wish it were more than it is.
Exactly, but it's very well plotted. The plot's awesome. Yeah. It's extremely well constructed.
How about Flash Gordon in Flash Gordon? Would he be
miscast as well?
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's not awesome at it. He's wonderful at striking the pose, and that's really what he's needed for. So like strike a hero pose. McDinkle doesn't even strike a hero pose well.
Yeah.
He is a little weenie, like, and that's part of the character, and I get it. That's he starts off as that and like does become wizard, but he still needs the wizard's help, so that sort of kneecaps his arc.
Yeah, right. I wonder if that was I thought that didn't work totally at the end, but whatever.
Yeah.
Bill, should we do your movie?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'll be quick. Okay. So this is Touchstone Pictures' My Science Project. It was greenlit before Eisner took over, but Eisner released it. It was when Touchstone was getting to the live action movie. It's a low rent sci-fi movie written by the guy that did Last Starfighter, so extremely talented writer, and involves a bunch of kids that find an alien life force machine that can transport time and space, and so this guy needs a science project or he's gonna fail, played by John Stockwell, who became a famous writer director in his own right. He was a big actor. He was also in Christine, and there's the nerds, and he finds this, and they unleash the danger of the time warp continuum, and all hell is broken loose. I'll show a clip real quick.
In the high school.
In high school.
Which is really what sells it, yeah.
Hey, I seen lights like this at an Ozzy Osbourne concert.
Can you imagine the advanced alien civilization that created this? I mean, this is bigger than all of us. I mean, this is bigger than any of us. This is bigger than the planet. It's even bigger than the solar system.
It's a time-space warp that's created by this gizmo that will warp something into our dimension, or we can travel through time and space.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah!
Let's call People Magazine.
I love that he gets this machine and immediately he's like, this is what it is. I was like, what? Okay, that came out of nowhere.
Yes, it's extremely low rent. It's all master shots, but unlike Flash Gordon, all the master shots are great. This guy is super talented, and I think has a cult following. It was not remotely a big hit, and then it was always available at the video store. And Fisher Stevens is great in it. I don't know why he's playing like a 50s guy, but it has a soft spot in my heart. What'd you guys think?
Sean?
This one I couldn't rewatch, but I remember having seen it a couple of times. And I know it came out the same summer as Back to the Future and Real Genius and Weird Science.
Yeah.
So like the teenagers messing with science was such a trope that when this one came out, I ignored it. I'd seen the other ones, and so I skipped it. And so I didn't see it until the home video days. Like when it came out like 9 months later, back when that was the kind of lag. And I remember watching it a bunch then because it was so silly and so fun. And the first half is sort of like, oh, this is a bunch of mysteries. What's going on? And then Dennis Hopper disappears, and you're like, oh well, I wish he were around longer. But the ending of just it's like a video game. It's like going from level to level to level, fighting different bosses until you get to a T-Rex, and that's it was super fun. I love the T-Rex aspect, and that's what I remember. I remember like some sort of like it's like sucks power, so they were chasing it, trying to. I don't know if that's how power works, so it can reach. Yeah,
it made no sense. I'm like, why the power?
It's like, can you unplug it? You can probably unplug the thing and not, let's knock over a power line. But it was a excellent action sequence. Like
they made the whole movie.
The filmmaking was good from what I remember. I haven't seen it in forever, but it was one of those things that just was fun. And like one of those movies that like, if you don't like it, wait 5 minutes, it's going to change. Like it kept on having that like left turn through, here's a gladiator. And there was like a samurai. And then like, it's fun. It's a fun film. It doesn't make a whit of sense. But as I tell my screenwriting students all the time, the only reality that matters is emotional reality. As long as people act like humans, you don't have to be real, And so this movie definitely leans on that. Oh, screw reality, just like Flash Gordon does, just like Dragonslayer does. They're all following a similar pattern of, leave your disbelief at the door before stepping into these worlds.
I love this movie. I saw it at the theater when it came out. And I remember loving it. It was one of my favorites. I preferred it to Real Genius and Back to the Future.
You're crazy.
I still haven't seen Weird Science, so I can't judge Weird Science.
Wow.
Overrated.
Is it overrated? But I like watching it now. I found it so laughable when Dennis Hopper just immediately kind of pinpoints what it is. And I'm like, I wonder if the screenwriters were like, oh, I guess everything else we filmed doesn't make sense. Let's just have Dennis Hopper say it all here. Is that what happened? Screenwriters?
Here's the expo dump.
Yeah, it's like what it was just funny. He just knew.
He probably was noted, and it was the first movie that Dennis Hopper did after rehab. He totally messed up his career and stuff like that. That's why he's a little bloated and stuff like that. The guy wrote Last Starfighter. He was like I think a cab driver or something like that, and he wrote this movie and he wrote Last Starfighter, which they thought they were going to make a second one of them. So this was his off the minor success of that, he got to direct this movie, and then I feel like Disney just dumped it. You know,
Well, this bombed, right?
yeah, it totally bombed him.
Yeah, because Disney had passed on Back to the Future,
Stupid.
and so they made this like immediately on the heels of that one, looking like, oh, this is going to be a big deal. And there was that trend, like I said, coming up, like it was teenagers playing with science. It was like a trope I'd like to see come back. I'd like to see more movies about teenagers playing with science. It was a fun. There was even the Manhattan Project was like the serious version of one of these that came out like a year after this. I love this subgenre.
I think it's a fun, like, to revisit it. I think it's a really fun 80s movie. And to me, this is the film I wanted Bill and Ted's to be.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yeah, this is what I wanted it to be.
Bill and Ted, I would definitely say this one walked so Bill and Ted could run. You know, like I think Bill and Ted is a better film just because.
Ian.
No, but I appreciate Bill and Ted now. But back then, this got a little more, violent at the end. And Bill and Ted was all cute.
Yeah, it was.
No,
cute.
I like it now. I didn't then.
You just wanted to see Bill and Ted fight a T-Rex.
Yeah, I wanted like violence. And
I mean, that ending is like an Ed Wood movie. It's so funny.
It really is.
I see that now. But
and the T-Rex looks like Land of the Lost. It's just the old Sid and Marty Krofft. It's just a puppet. It's not even awesome Phil Tippett stop motion or something. It's a puppet that's lit okay.
13-year-old me loved it. It's made for 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the point where we pick the movie. You can't pick your own. Sean, what movie do you like the best? You can't pick your own.
Easy, Dragon Slayer.
Okay. Ian?
This is really hard for me. I'm gonna go with Flash Gordon because of the Queen soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go because of the hair of Peter McNichol. I'm gonna go with Flash Gordon. So Sean,
Sean's the
you win
winner.
Employee of the Month.
Excellent.
For outstanding performance on effort.
Fantastic.
Bravo.
I've never been so honored. Thank you, gentlemen.
Now, Sean, thank you for coming on. What do you have coming down the pike? I heard you might be working on some things.
I'm working on a bunch of things, but nothing that can really be discussed right now. You know how that works. Just working away. Most recently, if you want to check out anything I did, I dropped an original song in the Halloween episode of ABBOTT Elementary this past fall, so you can hear one of my goofy songs in ABBOTT Elementary. I'm scoring a couple things coming up and writing some songs for some films coming up and have a couple of features, hopefully. We'll see in the pipe. But other than that, it's the Hollywood grind. I am working away.
Awesome. Stay around for after the credits, Sean. And then thanks for watching. And please like and subscribe. And
comment.
And comment also.
And share.
But be nice.
Yeah, but be nice.
Pop the popcorn, grab a Coke, and find that old VHS. We're diving deep in cheesy flicks. Yeah, we're on a vintage quest. Blue reviews.